Let's adopt. How many of you thought about adopting? How many of you have had adoption as a last option? My name is Rod and welcome to my channel. Let's talk about adoption. I would love to help the kids and the children in the world that don't have parents, that aren't cared for, that aren't loved. But I realize I'm also one man. I realize that I also have to put myself before others in order to be able to do what I need to do or what I want to do. How many of you have thought about it? How many of you have considered it because it's a way to help the kids that have lost their parents or never had parents, or their parents were in a difficult situation that they couldn't get out of, or they weren't financially set and they had to give up their child for adoption. And there's women who become pregnant that didn't want to become pregnant. Instead of aborting the child, they give up the child for adoption. They give the child for a better home. How many of you have adopted? How many of you have cared for a child? Or how many of you cared for a child that's not your own? And yet you haven't adopted. You've taken care of them, you've been there for them, you've been their support, you have been a father or mother figure to them, but yet you haven't adopted them. Adoption is a tricky thing. Sometimes it's a great thing, sometimes it's not the right thing. It just kind of depends on the family and the child. If you're a teenager, it's harder for you to get adopted. Not everybody adopts teenagers because they believe that they're set. They're set in their ways, or they're set in their perceptions, or that they missed out on the kid or child's life because they feel like that kid or child will never look at them the way a baby or somebody who's really young will look at them. But there's other parents who don't think like that. There's other parents who have adopted teenagers and they've helped to change that kid's life. And how many of you are parents? How many of you are parents that have had kids and then yet you've decided to adopt as well? How many of you have blessed somebody with a family? Because it's not easy. It's not easy raising kids. It's not easy raising somebody else's kid. It's not easy raising kids. It's not easy raising someone else's kid. And it's not easy trying to take over a parent figure situation to be in. How many of you agree on that? How many of you don't? Let me know by putting a comment down below, because realistically, it depends on the situation and the people and the kid. Sometimes it's going to be hard. Sometimes it's going to be easy. Sometimes it's going to be so many complications, but there's going to be so much love that comes out of it. So much love that gets put into it. And it helps change both people's lives. It helps change all of the people's lives. And then there's the complicated ones, the complicated adoptions, the complicated parents, the complicated brothers and sisters. Sometimes there's complications. It's hard to adopt one child without adopting their brothers and sisters. Sometimes it's hard to adopt one kid that is about to turn 18. Sometimes it's hard to adopt when you don't have the financial support that you need. Sometimes it's hard to adopt even when you have financial support that you need. It's all a case-by-case situation. Now tell me, being a parent, what do you think about it? What do you think about raising your own kid? What do you think about helping others to raise their kid? Would you do it? Would you care for somebody else's kids? Would you sacrifice your time, your energy, your money, your life to help others as well as your own? There's only a certain amount that everyone can do in this world. We do the best that we can. Well, I hope that we do the best that we can. And sometimes our best is not necessarily what other people's definition of the best is. The reason I created this video is for this girl who finds out that of course, I don't know if she finds out or if she knew that she was adopted, but there's more to the adoption than just a simple adoption. This father adopted her when she was a baby. The complication in this adoption is the fact that the original parents, the biological parents, wanted this daughter, this girl, to be adopted by wealthy parents, adopted by people who had money to be able to support her, to take care of her, to give her the best education, to give her the best life possible. But the problem is when this man held this little girl in his arms, he fell in love as a father would for a daughter. I love her little smile, her laugh, and her beautiful eyes when they're looking at me. That is the only thing that the father was thinking. But once the daughter finds out that she could have had a different life, where she would have been rich. She would have gone to expensive college. She would have had the nicest cars. She would have had the millionaire lifestyle if the right parents had adopted her. But this man gave those parents another daughter, a different baby, and told them this is her, and let the biological parents know, yes, your daughter has been adopted by these parents. But no one knew that this man actually took the daughter, adopted her for himself. So you might think, what's the complication in that? Why is there a complication? Either one daughter would have gone to him anyway. The complication is the fact that he barely had enough money to survive. He barely had enough to get by. He barely had enough money to feed himself. Yet alone, he took this little girl, this baby girl, and adopted her. He had helped so many people adopt other kids that he decided to adopt her. So many people knew him, knew that he was capable of doing it, but they didn't know his financial settings. They didn't know that he wasn't financially well off. He was decent off. He had enough money for himself, but he didn't have enough money for a child. He didn't have enough money or support system to raise that child properly, meaning give her the best education, give her the best schools, give her a life that would be worth it, or a life where it would be the expectations from the biological parents, where she would get a great education, she would have a nice lifestyle. But instead, it was complicated from the beginning. It was somebody who didn't have his own life together. He didn't know how to raise a daughter without it being, okay, you're gonna do what I say when I say. If I tell you go do this, go do this. Even if they don't have the money, the financial security, the backup, even if their life isn't an easy lifestyle, instead they were poor. She had to work from high school. She had to do all of the hard things. You don't talk back to me. He had the old mind mentality of you don't talk back to me. You don't disrespect me. You do as I say when I say it. His mentality was more of an old school mentality, while her mentality, she was still learning. She struggled throughout her life, even in college. But the thing is, she doesn't realize it's not up to him. It's not up to anybody else. It's up to her. She's the one that's got to try. She's the one that's got to work hard. She's got to learn that that's just building up her personality and her life. Then she'll know what to understand from people, what to expect from people, what to know how people will act. It's better understanding and getting your mind to know when to believe someone, when not to believe someone, when to be there for someone, when not to be there for someone, when allowing somebody who wants to damage their own life, if they want to damage it, let them damage it. Give them the option, tell them, hey, this is what's going to happen if you do this. If they do it, let them do it. Let them be responsible for themselves. But you have the opportunity to make yourself a millionaire. You have the opportunity to work hard. You have the opportunity to go get that car that you thought you should have had because you had rich parents, because you wanted those rich parents. Guess what? Life's not easy. Life is not, hey, let me give you this, let me give you that, let me give you all these nice fanciful toys. It's show the world, no matter where you came from, no matter how hard of a life you had, no matter how tough of a parent you had, or a drunk parent you had that didn't understand you, or didn't raise you the way you want them to raise you, or didn't have that easy lifestyle. But guess what? You didn't have that. So what? You had the hard lifestyle. Now use that. Use that to work hard. Use that to learn how people act around. So if you want that millionaire lifestyle and you have $1 million business, guess what? You're going to be more knowledgeable, more understanding what it's like to be around somebody like that. You know when somebody's toxic. You know when somebody's not right for your business or your life. Then get that partner who loves you, cares for you, is going to be there for you, who treats you right, but yet doesn't coddle you, doesn't treat you like you're an imbecile, treats you like you have brains. Use it. Stop complaining about things. Stop complaining, oh, I could have had this, I could have had $1 million, I could have had a car, I could have, go make it, go get it, go do it. Do you know how many times you could be put in that situation? Life is already hard enough. Trying to be harder on yourself because you could have had this, you could have had that, you could have had. So guess what? You're ahead of everybody there is. You're ahead of everybody because you know what's going to work, what's not going to work, what's going to happen if you do this. You're going to know on family stuff. You're going to learn that and take that from people. You're going to learn and understand. You're going to learn from people. You're going to understand people way better and a faster curve than other people, than even the girl who got adopted by the rich parents, who gave it to them easy, who had the easy lifestyle. Just because you have an easy lifestyle doesn't mean that you're the smartest, or you're the hardest working, or you're the fastest, or you're the most knowledgeable. All it means is you had an easier lifestyle. Your parents took care of you, not your biological parents, but your parents. Somebody took care of you. Somebody gave you things. But now you can tell everybody in the world, when it's time, I did it on my own. I got this. I worked hard for this. And that is the best, most amazing feeling ever. Saying that you worked hard to do what you wanted to do. And for me to say, I worked hard, creating a newer future for yourself. That's creating a new future for that family generation. Because you got to remember, your biological parents didn't either have the funds, means to take care of you, or they were not in the right headspace to take care of you. Even though your adopted dad wasn't the best adopted dad, you might be angry about it. It's okay to let that anger go. Don't do it for them. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself. Do it for your heart. Do it for your head. Do it for your mind. Do it for your life. Do it for your future. Do it for your kids. Do it for so many reasons. My name is Jawad, and thanks for watching.